The FBI issued an arrest warrant for Bryan Laundrie last night. Officials say he charged over $1,000 on someone else's debit card days after Gabby Petito was last seen. Joining us now is Justice Jeanine Pirro, host of Justice with Judge Jeanine, which is an awesome show on Saturday night. So Bryan Laundrie, dead or alive at this point, do you think?
You know, I don't know. For a while, I thought he might be dead. But when I think back to the fact that the parents, I think, were very involved in making sure he was able to escape, covering up his whereabouts until the 17th. So they had from September 1st to the 17th. There's all this unusual activity, buying a camper. He goes camping with his parents. I don't know any 23-year-old who does. I think that they were either casing out a place where he could go or they were getting rid of evidence. I think he's arrogant enough to think that he can survive this. But on the other hand, he may say, I don't want to go to jail, so I'd rather die. Who knows?
And then, so is the search just in that Carlton Reserve, or is it much broader?
The search is much broader. And, you know, everybody thinks they're looking in the Carlton Reserve for Bryan. I think they may be looking for evidence in the Carlton Reserve because, remember, the parents helped him clean out the camper, her van that he brought back. We don't know what was in the van. We don't know what was in the Mustang. The parents have pretty much kept all of that away from the police by their silence, by their lawyering up. There's all kinds of evidence that's gone. So there may be evidence that they're looking for in addition to Laundrie in that swamp area.
One thing I don't know if our viewers know about you, and I've only learned this week, that in 1978, you set up the first domestic violence unit as a prosecutor. And one of the reasons you wanted to, in the country. And you did that because you knew that this is a problem that happens. What do you think about what Mark Fuhrman said about what happened in Utah?
You know, the problem is when you have a police officer saying that domestic violence charges are not meant for people going through the state and traveling through the state. They're only meant for people who live in the state. That is outrageous. That's what people were thinking 40 years ago. I started, you're right, the first domestic violence unit in the country. It was a pilot project. That mentality is what gets young people like this in real trouble. The law in Utah makes it very clear that there is a mandatory arrest in a case where the police believe there will be continuing violence. There was a call to 911 by an outsider who said he's slapping her. The car was swerving, hitting the curb. They were both agitated. She was hitting him, and it was clear that he didn't want her in the van. He was trying to prevent her from getting into her own van. You don't just turn around and say, well, that's the end of it. You know, they're from out of state. Well, maybe he is going to leave her here, which is exactly what it appeared to be. Domestic violence cases are cases where you have to assess the danger to the woman or to the man in 10% of the cases. I very much disagree with Mark. He was wrong.
Because he said that if you're going through the state, that the laws aren't for there.
Domestic violence laws don't apply to you. But there is mandatory arrest in most states in this country. The police have an obligation to assess who is the primary aggressor and who is the one that they're going to put under arrest. In some states, they'll put them both under arrest. And he says, well, they'll both be bailed. Who knows what was going to happen in this case? Who knows? Right.
Will we get an update about this case tomorrow night on the show?
Absolutely. I'm doing it tomorrow night. Dr. Bodden will be on the show. Okay. We've also got Lou Holtz. We've got a whole bunch of people. Yeah, it'll be fun.
All right. Great to have you, and great to have you on the 5 this week, too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.